One of the things we're going to show you if you're doing a course with CPD Education Online is how to research Australian taxation law. So if you ever go on and decide to do your CPA Australia course, you have a means and a way of actually learning and understanding how to research in this particular environment. So I'm going to go into the website. And this takes us to the ATO Legal Database, a great resource for practitioners and for those people that are studying CPA or another Australian accounting program. Now, just as an aside here, I use this database every day. I use it with clients. If I'm writing questions for students, I'll use this website to research some issues. And effectively, it's very, very good. So let's get into it and I'll start showing you how to maneuver around this website. So let's say I need to find some information on section 6-5. Now the dash in the 6-5 means we're in the 1997 legislation. It's a section of law. Let's have a look at it. So I'm going to go here and hit go. Now these are rulings, private rulings. I'm going to come back to them in a minute. I'm going to go over here on the right, click legislation. And you can see here 1997 legislation, section 6-5. And what are we talking about here? We're talking about income according to ordinary concepts. Got to click on the link. Now up comes this section. Now if I'm a student or if I'm working on an assignment here, I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to use something called my Snipping tool in Microsoft. So we'll get that up and running. So there it is. And if I'm doing an assignment with some colleagues at uni, I'm going to use the Snipping tool. I'm going to highlight the section here and I'm going to paste that straight into a Google Doc. Now if you were doing one of our courses and you wanted to do this online and you were sharing the document with us so we can see what you're doing here at CPD Education Online, this is what you do. I'm in my Google account now. You'll need a Gmail account and that's easy, it's free and it's easy to register with Google. And I have my file open for CPD Education Online Research and I'm going to paste this in. So right now you just show me that you found the section of law, you've copied it into this particular document. You might be answering a question and you might make some comments down here. Now as you're recording this, it registers in the document and we have an indication then of how long it's taking you to attempt the task. If this is a CPD task, then all your research is timed and therefore we can track and you can track and you can also prove to CPA Australia, for example, how much time you've spent on your CPD and answering our questions. So clearly one of the things we like you to do is go into the legal database, research things, research the law, research a private ruling, research a tax ruling, and then share it with us. And then we want you to interpret it, for example, or answer a question or apply it to some facts. And then you would continue to do that down there. Now you've shared the document with us at some point and we'll be able to get in, have a look at this. And if you've got any questions, we can then help you. So we're back in the legal database, but this time I'm going to find a tax ruling. I'm going to show you how to find a tax ruling. Now here's one that we'll potentially do at some point. The tax ruling on residency. Put that in. And once again, we're going to ignore this for the minute. We're going to come over to the side to rulings, determinations and bulletins. We're going to click there. And there's my ruling. So as you can see, this ruling comes up. Now we'll talk more about these later on in other sessions, but let's go down the bottom. I'm going to show you something that's pretty cool here. Obviously the legislation is there, there's cases there, but the thing that I like is all of these examples down the bottom here. And you can pretty much, at the end of studying about residency, you can test your knowledge with these examples and see how you would go in deciding a situation in real life. So very, very helpful tax rulings. They have additional examples in them. They explain the law, and we certainly encourage students to look those up and to find the relevant rulings that apply to their problem and then quote them when they're answering legal questions. And clearly, when it comes to dealing with clients, we use them and quote them as well. Now let's say the last one, let's say that a client comes to you and they've got a situation, they have business premises and they're being robbed of a night time. So this happened to one of my clients, and what did he do? He went out and purchased a very large dog. It was an Alsatian, and he purchased this very big, mean dog. I'm going to call it a guard dog, and he named the dog Arnold. Shout out to those people that watch Entourage. So Arnold the Alsatian, he's guarding the premises. Can we claim Arnold the Alsatian as a tax deduction? So I'm going to find this very briefly for you in here, and that will take us to our ruling, and I'll tell you what I like about them. So we're typing our search for guard dog. Now there's no section of law that's going to say that a guard dog is a deduction or not. We're going to have to find it in some of these other resources. And I have what's called an ATO ID. And here's our question. Are the costs in training a guard dog to protect business premises a deduction? Let's click here. There's our question. Now I like the way this is laid out, and when it comes to writing letters for clients, we'll come back to this example later on in one of our videos, and I'll show you how we write a letter up to provide to a client, or you might do it for an assignment, and how we use this format of an ATO ID and why I like it so much. But we'll keep it basic for today, because I don't want this to go for too much longer. But are the costs incurred in training a guard dog a deduction? Yes, in the 97 legislation 8-1. Now, section 8-1 is the section of law that relates to deductions. We'll go down to the reason for decision and we'll get straight to it. We have this here. Have a read of this. A guard dog is a working beast or plant. What does that mean? When you think of the word plant, what do you think of it? It is a capital asset. So in the balance sheet or the profit and loss, where is it going to go? If it's capital in nature, I'm going to tell you now, it's going in our balance sheet. So what do we do with the dog? Believe it or not, we're going to depreciate him. Arnold the dog, Arnold the Alsatian, is going to be depreciated over time. So the ruling goes on, and I'll let you read that in your own time. You can easily get into the legal database and look that up. But I've given you a few examples of using the legal database and how it works. So we can look for sections of law, we can look for tax rulings, we can put in a specific issue that we're trying to find, and we can put that in here and hit go. And then that will help us solve our problems. And you can see down the bottom, we've got the legislation here, we have cases, and we can use those in our letter that we draft for the client, and we can quote this legislation to the clients in any advice that we give. So it's quite handy to have that there as well. So that's it for the moment for the legal database. We are going to research in this significantly over the coming months as I put courses up, so get used to it if you can. We do like it. It is very, very helpful, and it's something that I use on a regular basis. So once again, here's our links, people. So if you're enjoying the materials, you'd like them to continue, please like us on Facebook. That's the one down the bottom. Our websites are there as well. If you have any client queries, you can go to our client website.